If somebody were considering being an organ donor, there are a couple considerations. Probably the first and foremost would be the Church encourages it, right? It's an act of charity. John Paul II says in his encyclical Evangelium Vitae that it is a paramount act of generosity and charity towards others. Of course, we have to make some distinctions between cadaver donation and living donation. Cadaver donation is the typical way of donating. It refers to donating one's organs when one has been declared to be dead. Living donation is living donation. Okay. Now, cadaver donation is especially important because typically the organs that are extracted are vital organs. What really counts is death, right? Now, in the United States, there's a strong recognition in law of what's called the dead donor rule. That is, no donor, cadaver donor, can have his or her organs extracted until he or she has been declared dead. Now, there's some debate on the criteria for determining death. And there's basically two criteria: brain death criteria and cardiac criteria. Brain death criteria refers to the death of the whole brain. So the whole brain, that is the upper cortex and the lower cortex, aren't able to do what they're supposed to do. And they've lost their function irreversibly. That's brain death criteria. Cardiac criteria is the irreversible cessation of cardiac function. Okay? And these two criteria are basically well established, and the Church does recognize these two criteria as being legitimate criteria for determining death. So there are tests that are done, and they're fairly rigorous tests that can determine brain death determine that somebody is brain dead. There is a debate about whether the tests are adequate, but we don't see any kind of good argument out there that whole brain death is not an adequate indication of death.